We'll talk about 3 lines here to go through a corner. They're all laid out. So a traditional line, have you guys ever watched like road racing? You've said a little bit of NASCAR and stuff back in the day.
Yeah, they go like from the inside to the outside, right?
Right, so that's this traditional line. It starts on the outside. You guys know what an apex is, right? All right, it's the center part of the corner,
Yeah.
the tip of it. So that traditional line, you start far on the outside on the entry, you round the corner off, you clip right in the middle of the corner, and then you track out to the outside.
Yeah.
So there's the turn in on the outside, the middle part on the inside, the very outside of the road on the end of that corner. So without a doubt, this opens that corner up and straightens it out as much as possible. So if you knew the situation, knew the road and all that stuff, this would be your fastest way through the corner. The problem is road racing sees the same 10 corners 100 times. In rally, we see 1,000 corners once. So you typically don't know what's on the other side of that. So when you use this line, if there's a little trees in here that's creating a little bit of shade on the road, and there's a little bit of a slick spot, I know you guys felt some of the different changes of material out in the slalom and skid pad area. You come into that, you don't account for that little spot, you misjudge your speed into it.
Goodbye.
Yeah, now you're off the road. And is that okay? No, because now you're breaking rule number 1 and probably rule number 2 of that as well. You're going off the road. So this line can be the fastest, but it's not going to get you to the finish on most events. So you might be able to get away with it for 9 out of 10 corners, but that 10th turn, that's going to end up screwing you over every single time. So this isn't our safest line. Can be the quickest, but not our safest. So we actually try not to use it too much, because the other thing, you guys have seen the slalom, it's right, left, a lot of back gravel roads, there's a lot of turns going the other direction. If this thing starts switching on me the other way, is he set up good for that next left-hander now? No. So that's, again, another reason why we stay away from this line. An early apex. I draw this in the red for a reason, because it's the worst line you can do. Like red, bad, crash, stopping. So when you come into this, you start out at the same spot on the outside, but then you end up going to this apex and clipping it a little bit early. And then you have to do all your turning after the corner, which also keeps you on the outside of the road. So we've already talked about all the reasons why you don't want to be on the outside on the exit. The entry, the little bit of pros and cons to this, the pro from this point to this point, you could be faster, right? Because you draw that in on a straighter line. The con, again, you have to try to turn everything on after that apex. The other con, if this was a big mountain, you know, we're in New England, there's mountains everywhere, a lot of blind corners. Your visibility, when you come in tighter, is less. You can't actually see through that mountain. So your visibility is only to here. So if there is a little object or obstacle coming around that on the exit, you're not gonna be able to see it in time. So we call this the crash line because it's gonna be the least safest out of any of them. We do have to chat about it though, because what's a big thing that can cause this line in the slalom? If you're looking right here. Anyone stare at an orange cone this morning?
Yeah.
Right? Did you go right to it?
Yeah.
Run it over?
Yeah.
So that causes an early apex. So if you end up looking at your apex, it's gonna track you in early every single time, and then that's gonna screw your line for that next corner coming up, in the late apex line. So you're still starting out wide at the beginning. You actually come in a little bit slower because you wanna get all your turning done before the corner, and you're clipping the back side of that cone. So you're on the very back edge of that corner. So now, by being out wider at the beginning of it, your visibility through the corner is way further, so you can see objects coming around if there is something in the road later on. You also leave a lot of room for error here. If you misjudge your grip a little bit, you have that much room to play with. So if you do miss it, and then you're here, guess what? You're still on the road, right? So that's gonna be the safest line, and it's gonna be the most predictable line. But you also think about here now, if this corner went the other direction on you, he's much better prepared for that next left-hander. If it did ever become a situation where the road straightened out on you, well, guess what? It's a lot easier to get a car to understeer to the outside and use more road than it is to try to tuck a car back in if you're already on the outside of it. Because again, gravity's automatically trying to push you to the outside. All right, let's put a big blue 18-wheeler coming around the other side. You don't know he's over there. So which line am I gonna actually run that's gonna help me stay safe on the inside of that corner? That late apex, right? So if you can see this whole straightaway, it's not the end of the world to kind of cheat out a little bit. I do it all the time coming down Mansell because you know there's nothing there. Yeah. But the spot you really want to make sure you're squared away is on the blind side of that turn. So if you ran a traditional line, right, that's going to make you track out on the exit, Well, again, if you misjudge a little grip, you're probably gonna go head on with an 18-wheeler. That early apex line, you drive straight in, and then you now have to get all your turn done. You're even more likely to go head on with that 18-wheeler because you also can't see it coming because it's much more blind. You also made the corner a lot sharper. So you run that late apex line, you cheat out, you slow up a little bit more on entry, and then again, you exit more on the inside, then you're not scaring the shit out of yourself, the passenger, whatever it may be. How we're gonna apply this. So now it's actually gonna be a little bit, more important to help keep you on a late apex line. Because when you come out of the corner, again, you're exiting tight because it's a late apex. You actually wanna try to line up that white piece of tape that's on the wheel with the next outside green cone. And that's gonna keep you on a good late apex going all the way through. So again, you wanna start out wide, and then just as a refresher, what do I do? What's my technique? Start it with the brake. There you go, turn.
Brake.
There we go.
Then center.
Now we're talking.
Then take the foot off the brake after you're centered.
There you go. See, now you guys are learning, that's good.
I didn't forget.
Just make sure you hold that brake in too nice and long. You're holding that brake in a little bit longer now.
Said the drone can do 100, it sounds like a challenge.
So now we've put more offset on the cones. We've made the corners longer to force you guys to run a good line to make it through. So now you're gonna have to be even longer on your brake because again, the corners are longer. So holding that brake in, and again, you wanna try to exit tight behind that cone. And then you center, as you guys already mentioned, before you release the brake. And again, try to make sure you get that wheel pointed at that next outside green cone, and that will keep you on a good line. And to help with like the visualizing going through, this will kind of be your road. Like that, all the way through that corner.
All right, so I'm lining up with this green cone. I'm gonna get ready, I'm looking across already. Turn, then brake, center, then release. Turn, brake, center, release brake. Turn, brake, center, release it. I'm gonna be more robotic. Turn, brake, center, release it. Turn, brake, center, release the brake.
Oh wow, okay.
Johnny, on the way down, film just in front of us too.
Yeah, yeah.
And then bad ideas, we'll do a little. That's day 2 mid-morning, we'll teach you that one.
I just saw Jesus.
I should not have done that one, let's edit that out. All right, here we go. So straight line braking, controlling your speed, 40 is too fast, 35 we can handle. So turning, then braking, center, release. Turn, then brake, center, now release. Turn, brake, center, now release. Turn, brake, center, now release. Turn, brake, center, now release. And you'll notice I didn't get big, huge oversteers on the exits, right? So that's that early center.
Right.
And then whenever I'm lined up where I want to go, I just jump off the brake.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm already on the gas, so that settles down the back end.
I realize how much you centered like every time.
All right, Johnny, ready to shit your pants when I drive?
We try to encourage you, like, okay, center it here, really, but stay on the brake.
Right.
And once you feel it a couple times, then your brain
Problem
gets
is,
on
like,
board.
I get the turn in, and then by the time to the next turn, I'm turning back the other way, so it never actually centered.
Yeah, and you're building energy. You're
Right.
building side-to-side energy, and once you lift, it really kicks.
Right.
And then it just spins
That's
right
why
around.
it's like the third one we both spun out on. Because
Yeah.
the energy at that point is already too.
Yeah, yep.
Or you're trying to give it too much gas, you're giving it more gas so you do get the little bit of the movement on it with the brake. So it's like trying to find that threshold where you have enough gas and enough momentum to give it the brake that you need to make the turn too. So that's where finding that speed to braking pressure is interesting.
Yeah,
To say the least. Yeah, we can do another set usually. You guys want to go do it again?